digitization is the call of today, not the call of the future, but of the present. It is here, it is needed, and it is needed today. So government must fully embrace digitalization to provide better service to the people through its vital frontline services and its back-end function. So para mag-advance kasi ang isang bansa, particularly para mag-advance yung mga services then that they provide to their constituent, to the people, we need to start digitalizing. Tama? So that's why you will be seeing a lot of effort coming from different government agencies, even in your company, kung nasa mga private corporations kayo, makikita nyo, no? We almost try to automate everything para makapag-provide tayo ng mas magandang customer service to to our customers, tama? However, makikita natin dito with our discussion, yeah, while digitalization is good, pero kadalasan meron nakakalimutang isang halagang component when it comes to digitalization. Okay? So, but let us define first what digital transformation is. When we talk about digital transformation, this is the process of integrating digital technologies. So mapupunan nyo, maraming naglalabas ang mga bagong mga technologies on top of course ng data analytics and data automation. Marami pang lumalabas na iba't ibang klaseng technology that can actually integrate with digital transformation. Nandyan yung AI, nandyan yung IoT, nandyan yung blockchain, and many other technologies, di ba? So when we create digital transformation, usually we incorporate yung technology as part of the roadmap. So as mentioned, integrating digital technologies into all areas of government or an organization, changing how it operates, changing how we deliver services to our customers, and how we want to interact with the public or how do we want to interact with our customer. But usually, when we talk about digital transformation, this is not just about adopting the tools. This is not just adopting the system na ginawa natin. This is actually about rethinking processes, culture, and capabilities to deliver faster, more efficient, transparent, and citizen-centric services. So when we create the digital transformation, before we actually create yung mga systems na gagawin natin to be automated, 'di ba? Marami tayong mga iba-ibang mga reasons why we are doing that. And we actually identified several benefits bakit tayo nagdi-digital transformation. And majority of those benefits actually uh, talagang for the advantage, di ba? Of either improvement on processes, either improvement in customer service support. But these are actually the top 9 reasons why organizations are actually moving to digital transformation. These are the top 9 common benefits daw. When you do digital transformation, it improves efficiency and automation. So para siya, of course, bakit nag-i-improve yung efficiency and automation? Because the workflows are being streamlined. Yung dating ginagawa natin on manual processes, nagiging automated na. And the errors are actually reduces kasi nabawasan yung mga manual na ginagawa natin into our processes. And most of them are, and because we actually automated it, right? Another top reason for digital transformation daw is better decision making through data analytics. Nakakatulong daw to in most organization. Dati kasi, the way we create strategies, the way we create mga solutions natin is actually based on intuition kung wala tayong data. Tama? But if you have an actual data, lahat ng mga magiging decision ng organization, lahat ng magiging strategy ng organization are actually data-driven strategy. Kumbaga, may pinanggalingang data. Kaya yun yung naging strategy natin, kaya yun yung naging solution natin. Tama? Kung hindi, wala lang. Everything will become based on intuition, based on your understanding, but not because of the data. Okay? So another reason why we benefit from digital transformation is to enhance customer and citizen experience. Tama? So kasi ang objective naman natin dito, lahat ng mga pinoprovide nating services to the customer, ang gusto natin mag-improve yung experience nila. Ano ba yung mga example ng mga improvement? Yung mga nire-request nila na mga informations or mga files or mga data will become faster. Another customer service is kung mas nagiging convenient sa kanila. Kung yun dati, naman, kailangan nilang mag-walk-in, okay? Tapos doon pa lang sila magkakaroon ng schedule, you can already provide online transactions, tama? Or you can already provide online scheduling so that they will only go to the site on their actual schedule, tama? So those are example na nagbe-benefit daw yung isang organization when they move to digital transformation. Another reason why companies are moving to digital transformation is greater agility and innovations. So this enables organization to quickly adapt to changes, market demands, or crisis. Tama? Kaya nga kadalasan pag sinasabi nila, when we move to digital transformation, dapat yung mga tao inside the organization must have an innovation culture inside the organization. Dapat daw, meron, ini-improve din ng organization yung innovative component ng organization natin. One good example po ng innovation is you incorporate IoT. Kung yun dati, manual natin kinukuha, let's say, yung temperature, manual natin kinukuha yung humidity, manual natin kinukuha yung mga may iba-ibang measurement using sensors. Now, we automate things, di ba? So, pwedeng ipinipid na lang yung mga IoTs na yon into the system and then nagiging parte na ng analysis natin and pwede nang maging part of predictive analytics. One good example is so if you will ask me kung halimbawa what are some innovation culture na tingin ko very in need sa bansa natin is one is in the Department of Education, di ba? Minumove-move yung mga dates, okay? Thinking na pag minove natin yung date ng start ng classes, maa-address natin yung mga issues when it comes to climate change. Kaya yung minove before sa September kasi nga tag-ulan, tama? So para maiwasan yung tag-ulan, pero tinamaan naman yung tag-init. So ngayon, ibabalik ulit sa sa June or July, so tatamaan ulit naman yung tag-ulan. So regardless of which month natin yan ilagay, meron talagang tatamaan na mga issues and concern that is related to climate change. Tama? So what is the right solution here? Actually, we need to incorporate technology. For example, di ba ginagawa natin pag masyadong mainit, nagdi-dismiss ng klase. What if maglagay tayo ng mga IoTs in schools, okay? Ng mga IoT sensors in school na ang magiging decision making ng mga different ng mga different DepEd superintendent is based on the actual result ng IoTs. Pag nakita nilang high temperature on this school, yung school lang ngayon dapat ang mag-shift to blended classroom. And then the other school na hindi naman mainit yung temperature, di ba? You don't need to dismiss yung class. But right now, what we are doing is that pag nag-dismiss tayo, lahat. Kasi we don't incorporate IoTs as part of our innovation, as part of our innovation system. Another is, di ba, napapadalas po yung mga forest fire, di ba? So why not come out with the sensors na yung mga ibang yung mga bundok natin, tsaka mga forest natin, meron ng temperature sensor and humidity sensor. High temperature, low humidity will already trigger an event na okay, so hindi lumampas sa threshold value to. So therefore, local government unit will be alarmed already for appropriate actions before even before magkaroon ng forest fire, I think there will be a lot of innovations that we can actually implement by incorporating all these new technologies. So yun yung another benefit daw of digital transformation. Stronger collaborations and connectivities, di ba? So minsan meron kang makikita, may mga systems nga, may mga iba't ibang systems yung mga department, but they are not integrated. So meaning, lahat ng mga systems are actually siloed. So when you ask a data, makikita mo may mga cases na iba-iba yung mga data ang ipro-provide sa iyo. Kasi maraming sources of data. Hindi lang isa yung pinanggagalingan ng data. So there's no consistency of the data, there's no accuracy of the data. But if you come out with a digital transformation that you integrated all these systems na meron lang iisang source of information, iisa lang yung source of data, I think it will create a stronger collaboration inside the organization. Cost reduction, so this will actually improve mga cost implication related na benefits. Increase transparency and accountability. So makikita natin dito dahil meron na tayong automation, you can now start creating KPIs or pwede na tayong maglagay ng mga key performance indicator to measure individual performance, to measure departmental performance kasi lahat ng mga measurement natin, lahat ng process natin are already digitalized. So we can actually create measurement. So for example, gaano kabilis mailabas yung permit. So if the KPI is actually within 2 days or 3 days malalabas yung permit, makita natin which particular location or which particular branch nami-meet yung 3 days na KPI. Kasi meron na tayong accountability. So nakikita natin how the approval passes from one person to another person or from one group to another group. So makakapag-create tayo ng mga operational level agreement within the organization as well as service level agreement to your end customer. So we can also another benefit of digital transformation is future readiness. So I think I cite some example that we can actually future-proof our operations and enhance security and risk management. So yung enhanced security and risk management, okay, kadalasan ito yung nagiging nata-take for granted when it comes to digital transformation. That's why we created this particular seminar for for us, okay, to understand how important data protection is, how important security is when it comes to digital transformation. So marami tayong mga government agencies right now na they are exerting a lot of effort. Several agencies are exerting a lot of effort to provide better services to the customer and providing by creating digital transformation program. Okay, some of our agencies are migrating to cloud infrastructure. Meron mga agencies that are automating their workflows using their data analytics for policy making, enabling online services and ID systems, securing systems against cyber threats. So these are the usual efforts from the government to promote digital transformation and to provide better services and benefits to the customer. Okay. So how can we imagine a digital transformation? So sa akin, the best way that I can describe digital transformation is the way that I am presenting it on the diagram. Meron kang meron kang mga advanced technology, you have all the workflow automations available. So you have a fast-moving vehicle. So it's steady, diba? It's very strong, it's very fast, tapos napakaganda nung niya, nung mga external features niya, di ba? So, however, inside that vehicle, merong mga component pa sa loob niyan that actually makes it powerful. So dito babagsak yung mga technologies or yung mga tinatawag nating mga emerging technology. So just like what I have shared a while ago, Okay? Yung kotse natin, let's say that is your digital transformation, they are fast-moving vehicle, very powerful, they can actually accelerate, di ba? But it is actually equipped, kaya niya nagagawa yun because it is actually equipped with advanced technologies. And what are some of these technologies na naka-incorporate as part of the digital transformation? Number one is cloud computing, di ba? So pwede nating ikumpara yung cloud computing as yung turbocharger ng kotse nyo. So para mapabilis, to provide high scalability, and to provide agility. Another way of Another component ng kotse natin sa digital transformation is AI, artificial intelligence, di ba? So pwede nating ikumpara yung artificial intelligence as your computer box. Di ba yung mga computer box natin, it contains so much intelligence na pwede nga siyang mag-auto stop, pwede nga siyang may mga sensors siyang naka-attach to that para mabigay niya ano yung mga issues on the vehicle and the like. Tama? So kumpara natin yung AI, that this is IA as your computer box, it powers smart decisions and automation. Tama? What else? Meron tayong data analytics kaya gumaganda yung digital transformation natin. And we can compare it as your GPS. It helps us in our decision making, just like the GPS. It gives us guiding decisions and with actual precision. Ito rin yung kaninang sinabi ko kanina na kung meron tayong data analytics, di ba? Mas data-driven yung approach natin when it comes to our decision making and strategy. Then we also have IoT as the sensors, tama? So feeding real-time data from every corner of the system. So ito yung mga sensors that we install on our computers. Then meron tayong blockchain. Blockchain is yung mga security locks natin sa kotse. So similarly, yung blockchain din natin, kung gusto nating i-secure yung mga ini-issue nating mga permits, kailangan nating mag-incorporate ng mga blockchain technology as well. This ensures transparency, trust, and tamper-proof records. Then you can also have virtual reality as your dashboard. So what I'm trying to emphasize here is that digital transformation are actually combinations of different technologies on top of the workflow automation. So hindi na to, when we talk about digital transformation, it's not just about automation. It's actually future-proofing yung mga services or future-proofing or digitalization, everything na ginagawa natin ng manual, and we want it to be more intelligent as much as possible. Sabi ko nga kadalasan when I am promoting or when I'm doing digital transformation road mapping, ang end state natin is actually to create predictive analytics within the organization. Hindi pwedeng reactive lang tayo in our approach when it comes to customer service. As much as possible, we want it na predictive yung mga solutions natin. So, incorporate technologies to advance yung digital transformation natin further. So I just want to cite some government efforts that has make use of this technology. So we have cloud computing. So cloud computing delivers computing services, including servers, storage, databases, networking, software. So ang key benefits nito, yung DICT GovCloud, is to provide on-demand access to infrastructure, pay-as-you-go pricing, remote access and collaboration, scalable and resilient environment. So ang ginawa ni DICT GovCloud is nagkaroon siya ng tinatawag nating uh, yun nga, cloud environment para sa mga government agencies natin. So GovCloud is an infrastructure platform that provides government agency with shared ICT resources. It enables agency to deploy digital services such as e-governance portal, document tracking system, and internal administrative applications without building costly or on-premise infrastructure. So, a very good use case nito is actually yung mga permits and licensing, di ba? Na-automate na natin yan. In the event that you want to learn about cloud computing, here are some of the trainings na available that you can actually take, or kung you're a lead naman when it comes to digital transformation, you need to educate yung mga tao ninyo, okay, when it comes to cloud computing. So there is ICDL cloud computing. So this provides basic background on cloud computing. Then we also have CompTIA. In case na mas familiar kayo sa CompTIA, we have CompTIA Cloud Essentials, CompTIA Cloud Plus. So what is the advantage of learning itong mga emerging technologies na to? Hindi kasi tayo pwedeng maging ano lang parang with the fast growing technology, with the emergence of all this technology, hindi po tayo pwede maging passive lang when it comes to learning this emerging technology, or else mapapag-iwanan tayo ng technology. So if you are part of an isang organization na involved in terms of strategies, in terms of uh, digitalization roadmap or cybersecurity, you need to take an initiative to learn more about these emerging technologies, because in the absence of understanding nitong mga technology na to, mahihirapan tayo to adapt in the future. So that's why I am encouraging you, no? Okay, to advance your knowledge and skills when it comes to cloud computing. So number one, ano advantage if you take your cloud, or if you learn cloud computing and take international certifications on cloud computing? Number one is you will become a digital pioneer. Since not many people understand cloud computing, so it will become advantageous to you na meron kang certification on an emerging technology like cloud computing. So meaning you will be one of those first adopter in the fast changing digital landscape. So this will also help drive your digital transformation roadmap. So you can actually leverage your certification to initiate and champion digital solution within the organization. Your expertise can lead the way in adapting new tools and improving productivity inside the organization. Tama? So yung traditional na ginagawa natin that we put all the systems on-premise, 'di ba? Meron namang limitation yung on-premise at meron din advantage yung mga ilalagay natin into the cloud. So, creating solutions and system and putting it on the cloud will provide you an advantage for some. Depends on the purpose, no? It depends on the technology, it depends on the system that you want to implement. If you think yung system requires a 24 by 7 uptime, 'di ba? Na mas mataas talaga yung uptime requirement niya and a scalability requirement, you go to the cloud. Okay? So, depende. So, in most organization now, they are actually implementing hybrid setup wherein they're using on-premise, and then yung backup nila or yung secondary data center nila or secondary storage nila is actually on the cloud. And also, since Experts Academy is an official training partner of ICDL and CompTIA, you have an opportunity also to be part of our accredited trainers, okay? Para ho kung nandun kayo sa mga regions, kasi kailangan din po ng mga regions natin ng mga trainers eh. So majority of our trainings are actually conducted here in National Capital Region. Pero hindi lang po NCR ang nangangailangan ng ganitong klaseng mga training. So other regions, other part of our country also needs this kind of training. Kasi para sabay-sabay ho tayong mag-advance, sabay-sabay tayong mag-move forward. So that's why we are also in need a lot of trainers na merong background on emerging technology. So if you are an educator and you are actually interested of teaching emerging technologies, okay, pass the certification exam and you will be you can be accredited by Experts Academy as our trainer, so you can actually conduct this kind of training on your respective regions and institution. Another application po is the artificial intelligence as mentioned. So kung yung organization nyo, pwede ho yung merong chatbot, di ba? Para ho mas mapabilis yung transaction instead of maraming nag-i-inquire at the front desk noong mga noong opisina nyo, you can actually create chatbots na yung chatbot meron na siyang actual logic that will actually guide the customers already on the process and the procedures in acquiring, for example, in this case, yung permit po. Tama? So artificial intelligence enable machines to simulate human intelligence. So chatbot is one example po of an AI. So enhances decision making through intelligent automation, powers chatbots, predictive analytics, and recommendation engines, at saka it improves efficiency and user experience in public services. So, hindi lang naman DNR, but I've seen a lot of organization already that have their chatbots so that they can actually reach and answer yung mga customers nila immediately. So what are the traditional approach kadalasan? Pag may inquiry, di ba? Usually, either they go to the site or nag-email. Pero my question is, how soon you can respond to the email? So kung after a day ka pa lang or after next business day ka pa lang makakapag-response, it actually slows down the transaction. At saka kung masyadong matagal tayo makapag-response to the customer, so ang challenge natin doon is that hindi natin na-address immediately yung mga concern nila. So, kung meron tayong chatbot, and then meron ka na rin mga automated response for some of the concerns, you can already address immediately yung mga questions and concerns ng mga customers ninyo. I even have one partner na nakita ko na yung ano nila, IT service management nila, meron nang naka-incorporate na AI. So, yung mga basic questions, yung mga concerns na more of questions lang and procedural lang, chatbot na lang sumasagot. So, yung mga isolated cases na lang, yung tino-troubleshoot nila at hindi nasasagot immediately with the customer. So, creating a chatbot or creating or incorporating AI as part of your digital transformation roadmap is actually an advantage. So for those who would like to have a basic introduction to artificial intelligence na mayroong highly recognized international certification, you can also take the ICDL Artificial Intelligence. So as mentioned din dun kanina, ito yung mga advantages niya. If you are the first adopter of artificial intelligence, so pwedeng mas maglalawak yung understanding mo on digital transformation. And Experts Academy also needs educators for artificial intelligence so that we can cover nationwide trainings as well. Another is data analytics. I mentioned a while ago, yung data analytics, di ba? It will help yung kumpanya to provide data-driven strategy and data-driven na mga solutions. So it enhances strategic decision making. It identifies inefficiencies and trends inside the organization. It supports evidence-based governance and service planning, and it enables predictive insight. So meaning, kung halimbawa, example po, nasa healthcare kayo, tapos eto yung mga gamot na na ini-staff nyo sa healthcare nyo, without proper data analytics, pwedeng ma-expirean kayo ng mga gamot. Or kung halimbawa sa corporate kayo, pwede kayo ma-expirean ng mga gamot. But with proper data analytics, alam nyo kung ano yung commonly requested na mga gamot kasi you have the data of your constituent or meron ho kayong data ng mga empleyado inside your organization and how often do you need to have yung mga klase ng mga gamot na yon. So that is an example of solutions that requires data analytics. So I think ito yung effort that DSWD is trying to create, 'di ba? Para at least yung distribution nila ng mga DSWD program will be more accurate and will actually reach yung mga tao that are beneficiaries of this particular program. So for those who are interested for data analytics, ICDL also provides the foundation training on data analytics. So if you are the person that are actually involved on yung trabaho nature ng work mo is more on data analytics, I think this is the right course for you as well. So Internet of Things, I think nabanggit ko kanina yung pwedeng incorporate sa DepEd, pwede rin i-incorporate for Aspire. Another pwedeng pag-incorporate ng Internet of Things, yung gumagamit tayo ng mga sensor is for illegal logging, di ba? So why not have a motion detector dun sa mga secured na mga sites? And then, kaya lang pwede kasing pag motion detector lang, pwedeng tao lang yan na hindi naman talaga illegal logger or pwedeng hayop yung madedetect. So dapat it's a combination of sensor para mas maging accurate yung logics natin. So you can actually add acoustic sensor on top of the motion detector na ma-detect na motion at the same time meron acoustic sound ng chainsaw that will actually trigger an alarm. And that will actually create a command center response, okay, for a more proactive mitigation of illegal logging. So that is just an example of how you can incorporate IoT. Okay. So it will provide you more cost saving, efficiency, enhanced safety and security, and many other benefits of IoTs. Okay. Now, so if you want to have foundation background and knowledge on IoT, ICDL also offer this kind of training. I think this is very important, okay? Itong next technology na to. Marami kasing nalalabas na mga permits. Tama? Marami tayong nilalabas na mga clearances. Pero, these are pure paper lang. Paano tayo nakakasigurado na yung sinabit sa ating paper are actually legitimate, di ba? Hindi kinopya, hindi dinaya, at naka-assign talaga to that particular person or for that particular permit. That's why you need to incorporate another technology which we call as blockchain. Dapat lahat ng mga ini-issue nating mga permit, meron ng mga blockchain that are actually incorporated so that at least makikita natin yung authenticity of that particular certificate. So blockchain is a decentralized tamper-proof digital ledger that records transaction across multiple computers. It enhances transparency, security, and accountability by ensuring that records cannot be altered retroactively without consensus. So kung titignan mo siya, okay, meron siyang mga different components na meron ka ditong QR code, meron kang logo of blockchain verified, and then meron kang mga hash codes, okay, for your blockchain. And then meron kang portal na pwede mong i-check whether this particular permit is valid or not, or is legitimate or not. So I think sensitive permits moving forward, okay, whether it's on the government or on your or on your agencies or in your institutions, I think mas magandang meron ho tayong blockchain technology that is incorporated on our digital transformation. So ICDL also offers blockchain, okay, as part of their basic knowledge and foundation. So if you want to learn more about blockchain, you can actually take the ICDL certification exam. Virtual reality is also an emerging technology as part of the digital transformation. Okay? Now, so knowing those yung mga advanced technologies na yon, and ang sarap tingnan no na sana umabot tayo at that particular level. Sana sana hindi na nadadaya yung permit. Sana proactive na yung illegal logging natin. Sana proactive na yung monitoring ng mga carbon dioxide sa buong Pilipinas para nakikita natin saan yung masyadong malaki yung carbon dioxide emission. Sana automated na, no? Sana bago pa magkaroon ng disaster, nade-detect na natin so that we can actually have a more proactive response when it comes to disaster and evacuation. Tama? So, those are actually the benefits of digital transformation. And I would like to focus on one very aspect of digital transformation na kadalasan nate-take for granted or nawawala as part of the consideration. As we accelerate modernization in the government and in your institution, there is actually one silent force that can either drive yung digital transformation ninyo into a success derail a success, or it will actually derail the progress of the digital transformation. And that is actually data protection. So meaning, pag hindi daw na-incorporate yung data protection as part of the scope of the digital transformation, this can be a reason para hindi maging successful yung digital transformation niya. So as mentioned, di ba, doon sa scenario natin kanina, meron tayong mabilis na vehicle. It's racing towards innovation. It's racing towards good services to the customers because of all these emerging technologies and advanced innovation. It's very fast, it's very powerful, and it is actually built for progress. Tama? But in every fast-moving vehicle, di ba, yung mga kotse natin, nilalagyan natin yan ng seatbelt. Kasi pag mabilis, mas confident tayo na sumakay doon sa kotse kasi alam natin merong seatbelt. Alam natin na merong magproprotekta sa atin. Tama? So, ganun din yung data protection. Kung meron kang digital transformation, pero there is an absence of the seatbelt doon sa digital transformation mo, meaning there's no data protection incorporated, which is the seatbelt of your digital transformation, medyo matatakot ka sumakay dun sa kotse. Tama? So, tanggalin natin yung idea na pag in-incorporate yung cybersecurity or yung data protection, baka bumagal yung digital transformation. No. Just like the seatbelt, maglagay ka ng seatbelt, it will not slow down the car. But, ano yung pinaka-major advantage niya? It will not slow down the car, but it will protect all the people inside. Tama? So therefore, putting data protection as part of the digital transformation will not give you a negative effect. Putting seatbelt on your car will not give you a negative effect, but it will give you a guarantee that all the people that are sitting on that car are actually protected. Similarly, ganun din. With the right data protection, yung mga tao na gagamit ng mga digital system na yon are willing to sit down on the car, they are willing to engage on your digital transformation because they know that they are actually protected. Pero without the seatbelt, without the data protection, the risk increases. Mamali ka lang ng galaw ng kotse mo, sa ibig sabihin yan, nagkaroon ka ng data breach, nagkaroon ka ng privacy violation, nagkaroon ka ng misuse of data, what will happen to the car? Medyo magalaw mo lang ng konti yung mabilis na sasakyan. What will happen? Everything will crash. And even the people that are actually inside will crash. Sa organization naman, what do I mean everything will crash? It's a reputational damage to your organization. At ang hirap i-recover yan. Di ba? Tingnan mo yung mga organization na nagkaroon ng mga data breaches. It's reputational damage. Do you think people will still trust to use the system? Do you think people will still share their personal information on the system na malaman mo na yung data mo na may nakakuhang hacker at pwedeng gamitin ng hacker na yun, yung data mo, yung information mo for some other purposes. Di ba? So it's reputational damage. So similarly, ganun din sa digital transformation. If you don't incorporate proper data protection as part of your digital transformation roadmap, people will not ride in to your car. People will not ride in to your digital system. So with it, we move confidently, safely, and actually you're earning the trust of the passenger, which are your customer. Kung government agencies ka, these are the citizens. They are willing to engage. They will be willing to use the system. They will be confidently using the system because they know that their data are actually protected. Okay? So that's actually how important data protection is. Okay, so government agencies, as mentioned, are shifting to cloud, online transaction, using all those emerging technologies. These systems depend heavily on collecting and processing personal data. Do you think magiging successful ang mga system na binuo niyo kung wala namang data? 'Di ba? The digital system, the machine is as good as the machine as a system, pero without data, wala kang i-ooperate. Wala kang ipaprocess. Tama? So therefore, hindi key component yung digital, hindi yung system ang importante dito. These are actually the data that will actually drives the system. So without data protection, public trust declines, adoption slows down, and cyber risk increases. So kaya kadalasan when I emphasize digital transformation, this is not just about the system. Hindi ito yung system na in-automate mo. It's actually about the data. And personal data must be protected to build trust and encourage engagement. Okay? So when people knows that their data are protected, that's the only time that they are willing to engage. So in general, data is actually the fuel and trust is the engine. So you have the system, andyan yung kotse mo, pero para tumakbo yung kotse na yan, you need the trust of the people so that you have the engine. And to process the engine, you need the fuel, and that is actually the data. So what actually rides into the system are actually the trust of the people and the willingness to share the data. So digital transformation is often seen as a high-tech machine, but the real fuel that makes this machine run are actually the data. Okay? And just like any other fuel, the fuel must be clean, must be properly stored, and must be properly handled. Similarly, ganun din yung data natin. Well, the moment that your client entrusts their data, they are expecting that that data will be properly stored and that data will be safely handled. Tama? The moment that those data leaks, the moment that the fuel leaks, misuse it, contaminate it with poor practices, the engine will actually break down, and that is equivalent to the trust of the citizen. So the citizen will lose their trust kasi, okay, na-contaminate yung data, na-contaminate yung fuel that actually runs the engine. So digital systems are only as powerful as the trust that powers them, and data protection is how we earn that trust. So that's how important your role is kung nasa IT kayo. That's how important your role is or nasa leader po kayo ng isang organization, especially leading a digital transformation roadmap. You need to earn the trust of the people. Okay? So, meron tayong mga legal na mga law in the Philippines that actually promotes data protection. So, data protection, we have the Data Privacy Act, which is RA 10173, which enforces protection of personal data. Pero kadalasan, bakit nyo protect yung data? Kasi madidinig mo madalasan sa mga empleyado, Data Privacy Act, Data Privacy Act, bawal mag-share ng data. 'Di ba? Kasi tinitingnan nila ang data protection as a compliance. Okay? Kasi part ng audit ng Data Privacy Act. So you should not looking at data protection as a compliance thing, as a legal matter. It's actually a strategic as we have shared dun sa mga previous slide natin, data protection must be part of the pillar of the digital governance. Protecting citizens' data means reducing breach risk, avoiding reputational damage, and enabling data sharing framework responsibly. So what is the right approach when it comes to data protection? Stop looking at data protection as a legal matter. Stop looking at data protection as just purely compliance, but look at data protection as part of the culture of the organization. You need to create a culture inside or inside your organization that actually protects all this data. So if people don't feel their data is safe, they will hesitate to use your digital system. So kaya kailangan kultura, maging kultura sa organization nyo that everyone in the organization knows how to take care of this data. Hindi para lang maiwas audit, hindi para lang, kaya ginagawa ng iba, nagre-create ng process para may pakita sa audit, pero hindi naman ini-implement inside the organization. So what do you think about that strategy? Compliance lang yung objective mo. Tama? So hindi mo na-achieve yung tamang goal that people that will use that particular system, hindi ka nag-aim ng goal na makuha yung trust of the people that will be using all those digital system. Kaya merong lumalabas na mga resistance to change inside the organization. Some are not willing to adopt the system. Diba? Minsan, empleyado mo na lang, ayaw pang i-adapt yung system because they don't trust the system. Tama? Okay. So, most likely, you will be hearing a lot of, may madidinig kayo about data protection, data privacy, data security. Ano po ba pinagkaiba-iba nitong mga to? Tama? So, data protection, okay, prevents critical information from being corrupted, compromised, or lost. Data privacy daw limits access to sensitive information and it complies with data protection law. Data security guards against manipulation and dangerous conduct from internal and external threat. So medyo confusing pa rin. So this is actually how we look at data protection. Data protection is actually your outer core. Okay? Ito yung broad set of procedures and system to prevent misuse, ensure authorized access, and enable productivity. It includes security and privacy. So, ibig sabihin, nakapaloob yung data security and data privacy dun sa data protection. So, data protection is pangkalahatan. Tama? While data security naman focuses on your defense mechanism like firewall. Ito yung mga technology na ginagamit natin in order to protect the data. So meron kang firewall or ini-encrypt natin yung data. So or nililimit natin yung mga tao na kung nag-access ng mga data na yon or naglalagay tayo ng mga role-based access na pwede lang connect dun sa data. Tama? And then data privacy focuses on ensuring that yung mga personal and sensitive information are actually secure by ensuring that only authorized user can access this information. So ito yung good analogy. Sa bahay na lang po para hindi na tayo lumayo. Data protection is actually your entire house system. Okay? So you need to secure the whole house. Tama? Kailangan meron ka mga security features to secure yung kabuuan ng bahay ninyo. And that is data protection. Lahat ng mga systems that are involved to ensure yung protection ng buong kabahayan, data protection po yan. So think of data protection as your entire system. You have to ensure your house are actually safe. So used properly and accessible only to those who should be there. So basically, lahat daw ng mga protection na para masigurado na yung buong bahay is safe, nagagamit lang ng tama, at tamang tao lang ang nakakapasok dun sa bahay, authorized na mga tao lang nakakapasok sa bahay, that is data protection. So lahat, Ano ba yung mga usual na mga nilalagay nating part of data at part of data protection sa bahay? You put locks, di ba? Naglalagay tayo ng camera, naglalagay tayo ng mga rules for our visitors, di ba? Storage cabinet, nilalakan natin, or meron tayong mga emergency response plans or whatsoever. So lahat, pangkalahatang protection ng buong bahay, that's data protection. So ang pinaka-main goal ni data protection is to prevent misuse, maintain integrity, ensure everything works together for safety and productivity. So ano yung data security? Yung mga ginagamit natin na mga technology, hardwares to protect the house. Sa infrastructure nyo, ito yung mga firewall, antivirus, encryption. Sa bahay, ano yung data security natin? Ito yung mga ginagamit mong lock. Ito yung mga ginagamit mong mga CCTV camera. Yung mga alarm system natin. These are your data security. So these tools help prevent break-in, detect threats, and control physical access. Tama? So ang main objective ni data security is to block unauthorized access and protect from external and internal threats. What is data privacy? So ito yung set of rules mo lang. Okay? Set of rules for who can actually enter the house, which room. So kung halimbawa may rule ka that itong storage na to, hindi pwedeng pumasok yung mga bata, that's data privacy. So parang sa kumpanya naman natin, itong mga information na to ng mga empleyado, si HR lang ang pwedeng may access dyan. Sweldo ng mga tao, si finance lang ang may access dyan. So, ganun lang din po doon sa bahay. Sino lang ang may access to the kitchen? Sino lang may access to storage? Sino lang may access to particular room? That is actually data privacy. So now, I expect that we see the difference now between data protection, data security, and data privacy. Okay? So we will not be confused anymore kung ano yan. Pero, regardless of this data protection, security, data privacy, there are three major components that are involved: people, process, and technology to provide overall data protection. So, technology, na-share na natin yan. You need to buy all this equipment to provide data protection. Firewalls, antivirus, encryption, so to ensure that the data are actually protected. Data privacy, di ba? It's combination of technology and process, di ba? And policies. Para masabi natin na ito lang ang pwedeng umaccess on this type of data. So we create processes, we create policies. Pero ano kadalasang nakakalimutan ng tao, ng mga organization? The people component. Okay? Tama ba ako? Nakakalimutan kadalasan yung people component. People is still part of the overall framework ng data protection. How many of us invest on people? How many of how much or how much time do you spend para ma-develop yung mga tao inside the organization? So, later, we'll go to that. Okay, so we'll just consider first yung 7 principles of GDPR or yung tinatawag nating General Data Protection Regulation. So this is the international standard when it comes to data protection that is also adopted by the Data Privacy Act. So walang problema, okay, kung GDPR to, it's the same set of principles na inadapt sa Data Privacy Act ng Philippines. So these are lawfulness, fairness, transparency, purpose, limitation, data minimization, accuracy, storage limitation, integrity, and confidentiality, accountability. Okay, number 1. Okay, lawfulness. Diba? So, lawful po ba na kumuha ka ng ganitong klaseng mga information? So, for example, a government agency collects taxpayer information based on a legal mandate under the tax code. Yes. Paano naman mapaprocess yung tax mo, di ba? Kung wala ka, hindi mo i-share yung TIN number mo. Kung hindi mo i-share yung personal information mo. So these are based on legal mandate. So that's why they can actually process your data. They have the authority to process the data. Tama? What about a mobile app provides an in-app notification explaining why it needs access to photos or contact? Nag-download ka po ng isang apps. Tapos sinabi niya, okay, please provide access to your photos and contacts. Tapos in-explain niya bakit niya kailangan ng access to photo and contact. Kumpara doon sa app na hindi mo magamit yung app, basta na lang sinasabi sa iyo na kailangan nila ng access to your photos and contacts. Okay? So therefore, yung mga naglalagay ng reason why they need access to these photos and contacts complies with the Data Privacy Act. And those that are not, wag yung payagan kasi wala kayong protection when you share those information to them. Government agencies conducting household survey, distributing flyers, or hold briefings to explain the purpose and scope. Tama? Lawful din naman siya. A hospital processes patient data to fulfill its contractual obligation to provide medical treatment. Tapos merong job portal na humihingi sa iyo ng consent to process your resume, including the information that is inside the resume. A public agency clearly explained how submitted data will be used, avoiding hidden purposes. So, maraming mga different reason but why they need to process your data. And most of this data, okay, na pina-process nila, meron namang legal reason. Tama? Ang problema, nung nagkaroon ng Data Privacy Act, lahat na lang ginamit ng reason yung, ay, I cannot share personal information, di ba? Kasi it's my right, Data Privacy Act. Lahat na lang di Data Privacy Act. Remember, there must be a continuous flow of information. That is still part of the mandate na yung information can actually be shared provided that it complies with the GDPR na i-discuss natin. Okay? So, lawfulness. Ito bang hinihingi niya sa iyong data have a clear legal basis? If yes, it can be shared. Pwede siyang kumuha ng data from you. So, nagbigay ka ng consent, pwede niyang gamitin yung personal information mo. Pero, on top of that, dapat nakalagay din dun sa data privacy notice yung saan gagamitin yung data. Okay? Or itatawag natin as purpose limitation. Hindi porket binigay niya, nagbigay siya ng consent dun sa information, pwede niya nang gamitin yung data na yon for different purposes. No. It can only be used for a certain purposes stated doon sa data privacy notice. Okay? Dapat yung data privacy notice, meron ding how long they will be keeping the data or tinatawag nating as storage limitation. Okay? Or merong nakalagay doon, kung nag-subscribe, pwede kayong mag-unsubscribe. Tama? Okay. Accuracy. Pwede mo bang i-update yung data? Dapat meron kang opportunity, meron kang rights to update the data. Data minimization, they will only collect what is needed. Hindi sila pwedeng mag-collect. Halimbawa, school, hindi sila pwedeng mag-collect ng mga information that is not needed. For example, yung hihingi nila, ilan ang kotse mo? Yung bahay mo ba, nirerentahan nyo or own? Hindi pwede yun. Kasi it is not related to the purpose. So they can only collect data that is related to the purpose. Okay? So integrity and confidentiality, okay, to ensure security. So dapat meron ding nakalagay doon how they protect the data. And then who is responsible to use and process the data. I have here one different example of a scenario that actually make use of the 7 GDPR processes. Okay? So scenario 1, online doctor consultation via telemedicine app. Okay? So hihingi sa iyo ng data yan, di ba? Hihingi sa iyo ng mga personal information yan. So una, Lawfulness, fairness, and transparency. Meron bang clear legal basis yung hinihingi nila sa iyong information? For example, tinatanong niya kung meron kang history ng high blood, tinatanong niya kung meron kang history ng cancer sa family mo, di ba? So the app obtains explicit consent before the consultation starts, as a clear privacy policy explains how health data will be used. So since may consent, di ba? So kung pumayag ka naman, okay, they have the rights to use of the data. Okay, use data only for the stated purposes. So dito nakalagay dun sa consult date sa telemedicine app, the collected medical history and symptoms are used only for diagnosis and treatment and not shared with insurers or marketers. Tama? Okay, so may purpose limitation siya. Then data minimization. Collect only what is needed. The app asks only for relevant data such as name, age, symptoms, and medical records, not unnecessarily personal information. Katulad ng sinabi nga natin kanina, hindi yan humingi kung bahay mo ba is nirerentahan lang, how much yung annual income ng family. So those are not related information. So they only collect data that are actually needed for that particular purposes. Accuracy. Keep data updated. Patients can review and update their health profile. Okay? So, sabi nga natin, pwedeng i-update. So, pwede nilang i-update kung nagkaroon sila ng additional allergy, nagkaroon sila ng additional medication. Okay? So, yung pinag-save nila, pwede silang mag-update ng information. Storage limitation. Gaano katagal i-store yung data na yon? So, medical records are retained only for a legally required period, then deleted or anonymized. Tama? So, integrity and confidentiality, paano daw masisigurado? Is it secured, yung data? Nakalagay doon, all data transmissions are encrypted, access is role-based, only doctors see the records, and systems are secured by firewalls. Okay? Then, who will process the data? The app provider has a DPO, performs data audits, and maintain logs of all access to sensitive information. So if you see na ganito yung component ng data privacy notice, so or any of this, 'di ba? So pwede nilang gamitin yung data. So siguraduhin niyo lang na tama paggagamitin ng data, they know how to protect the data, all these things, no? Pagdating sa data privacy. Another is school information system for student record. So ito naman yung mga sa mga estudyante. Okay. The school issues data privacy notice during enrollment and get signed consent form from parents and students. Okay to. So meron ng consent. And then when you sign it, okay, so ibig sabihin you authorize them to use the data or to process the data. Okay? Then ang tanong ngayon is the data, meron bang nakalagay na purpose on where to use the data? Student data is used only for educational and administrative purposes. Example, grading, health monitoring, parent notification. Data minimization. They're collecting the data that is only needed. Tama, di ba? So yung mga religion, political views, family income, hindi nila hiningi. Okay? So only those that are actually needed. Can they update the data? Yes, pwede. They can add contact information, di ba? Or merong mga changes to sa information that you originally provide. Then, keep data only as long as it is needed. So, pwede nilang data of inactive student is archived and deleted after a legally mandated retention period. So, meron tayong National Archive Law in the Philippines. So, doon tayo nagre-refer kung gaano katagal pwedeng i-archive and i-retain yung data. Then, integrity and confidentiality. So, ensure security. So, dito nakalagay using password protection, role-based access. So, that is actually how they protect the data. And then the accountable, they have the data privacy officer and those training, yung mga staff na authorized are the one that processes all those records. Okay? So, these are the 7 components of GDPR. So, ito yung ginagamit natin to ensure, okay, na yung mga principles of data protection are actually being applied, okay, by those people that are actually collecting the data. Now, so kung titingnan nyo yung nabanggit kanina dyan, doon sa mga proseso natin, parang merong policy, no? Tapos meron din mga technology na involved. Most of the time, ang nakakalimutang component ng organization are actually the human component. And kadalasan, the weakest link in the organization are actually the human because 91% of successful attacks are actually due to human error. Because the human or the people that are processing the data were not properly trained, not share nila hindi sila nakakapag-identify ng mga phishing email, na share nila yung mga personal information, nagiging biktima sila, tama? And then nakikita mo pa nga minsan sa sa mga black market, makikita mo may mga may mga access information di ba? So that proves that 91% of the successful attack are actually due to human error. But most of the time, this is an area na hindi nako-consider ng mga organization or even government agencies. They're thinking na the only solution, okay, for cybersecurity awareness is just training. But hindi po. Hindi po pwedeng pag-train mo, hindi ibig sabihin pag-train mo siya, hindi na siya magiging biktima. Hindi ibig sabihin na train mo siya, ika-count mo na siya na okay na to. Hindi na to mabibiktima, hindi na to mag-share ng information. Okay? Yun po yung laging maling misconception, and hopefully the reason why Experts Academy is here because we want to correct that perception na hindi po enough ang training. The only solution to address weakest link in the organization, which is the lack of cybersecurity awareness in the organization, the only solution is to make it as a culture. Okay? A culture of cybersecurity our organization. So stop communicating na kailangan natin protektahan yung data kasi Data Privacy Act. Kasi kailangan natin mag-comply with the Data Privacy Act. No. Hindi po tayo nagpro-protect ng data because we need to comply with the Data Privacy Act. We are protecting the data because we have an obligation to our customer. We have an obligation to our employees that the data that they shared to us will be safe. Tama po? Kaya hindi po siya compliance dapat. Lahat ng mga empleyado inside the organization that process sensitive information, that process personal information, must be part of this culture formation. So employees use shortcuts, store data improperly, and they don't report breaches. So we need to have a culture-based training in the organization and convert your organization to be a cybersecurity culture-aware organization. And as I said, technology can only go so far. But people need to understand the reason behind data protection. So that's why we need to create a culture of cybersecurity aware organization. What is the solution? Invest in people because 91% of successful attacks are due to human error, but they are always taken for granted when it comes to digital transformation and in terms of cybersecurity. So I hope everyone that are actually listening and attending this seminar take the initiative to create and lead the culture shift inside the organization, make cybersecurity, make data privacy, make data protection as a core value of the organization and not just a checkbox, not just a compliance item. Because if you continue doing that as a compliance item, I tell you, and tapos training lang yung nagiging solution natin for culture building, will have a big problem, especially when it comes to pag the moment na maging biktima tayo. Okay? So, culture of cybersecurity organization is the key. So, what's the first step? Alam niyo ba kung anong level ng culture ng organization? Kaya nagtataka ko, some organization are so proud na sinasabi nila na, ay okay naman kami, nakakapag-train na kami. Do you agree with me that you cannot improve anything that you don't measure? Paano mo naging nasasabi na successful yung implementation mo if you don't put any measurement? Tama? At hindi rin tayo I think some of you will agree with me na pag sinabing di, minessure naman namin 100% of our people already attended the cybersecurity awareness. Do you agree na yun yung tamang measurement? Na pag naka-attend ng training, mataas na yung cybersecurity culture ng organization. It's not. Tama? So, kung gusto niyo, if you want to initiate yung cybersecurity awareness inside the organization and you want to initiate creating a culture of cybersecurity our organization, take the first step. Measure the current level of cybersecurity culture of the organization. So this is actually a baseline simulation na Experts Academy is providing to organization for free. So kung interested po kayo, we can conduct it for free wherein we check on the 5 domains po ng organization. So example po, we check on the confidence, perceived level of confidence of the organization. So we share survey questions that measures the confidence level of the organization. How confident they are when it comes to cybersecurity. Okay, perceived level of responsibility. Do they understand their role when it comes to cybersecurity? Do they understand that cybersecurity is not just the role of IT, but everyone in the organization has an essential role to play when it comes to cybersecurity, including cybersecurity leaders, including executives? Perceived level of impact. Do your employee understand na pag nagkaroon ng mga data breaches inside the organization, do they understand the possible impact of this incident? Alam ba nila that there will be reputational damage? Alam ba nila na pwedeng magkaroon ng mga cost implications pag nagkaroon ng mga data breaches inside the organization? So we measure the perceived level of impact. We measure the perceived level of engagement, their willingness to participate in different cybersecurity trainings, activities, okay? Perceived level of trust. Do your employee trust that they have the confidence and trust that they can actually report mga incidents na hindi sila natatakot to report it, di ba? And they can actually identify yung mga data breaches na to. Okay? Or mga phishing emails na to. So we need to measure it first. Without measurement, wala kang baseline. Yung mga susunod mong mga actions, hindi mo malalaman kung nag-improve kayo. So that's why you need to create a measurement. So this is an example of a survey that we measure the cybersecurity culture inside the organization. So based on industry average, nandyan kadalasan niya, nasa 3.5, ito yung confidence 3.5 to 3.8. Acceptable threshold is 3.5, pero the ideal target is 4.2. So for this particular organization, they have not met any of the cybersecurity domain when it comes to cybersecurity culture. So at least they know. Tama? So now, sabi natin, digital transformation, ano objective niya? Data-driven approach. So therefore, even on your trainings, even on your cybersecurity program, mayroon kang right intervention. Kasi dahil meron kang pinanggagalingan ng data. One example, when you allow us to conduct this simulation, baseline simulation inside your organization, you will know which particular group in your organization is the most vulnerable. So, example, for this particular group, for this particular organization, lumabas, it's the Gen Z who is the most cybersecurity aware inside the organization. And the interpretation for that, bakit sila yung most cybersecurity aware? Because, yes, yung mga intern nila at saka yung mga newers nila, these are Gen Z. They are digitally native. They are already tech savvy from the day they were born, 'di ba? So they have good exposure on cybersecurity. Kaya they know and understand the importance of cybersecurity. So at least magkakaroon ka idea, habang nagdatanggap pala ako ng mga new hires ko at saka mga Gen Z yung ina-approach ko, tumataas yung cyber culture ng organization ko. Then minsan, you will be surprised na pag tinanong ko yung organization, sasabihin niya, ay, we're not getting support from the executive kasi hindi nila nakikita yung importance of cybersecurity. But the latest survey shows that next to the interns, it's the executive who has the highest level of cybersecurity awareness. Why? Because they are actually the one that always attend regulatory compliance meeting, regulatory compliance pressure. They measure risks. They are involved on risk measurement and accountability, and they are actually involved in strategic exposure. Almost on all their discussion, security is actually one of the components that they are actually discussing. So yes, I must admit, siguro 3 years ago, it's the executive who is actually the less cybersecurity aware in the organization, but not anymore. Okay? But of course, it depends pa rin sa organization nyo. So that's why we need to have this kind of data and measurement. Then, lumalabas, for this organization, who's the most vulnerable? The middle management. Tenured. Okay? People who doesn't want to adapt technology na. Okay? So, they are not interested with technology kasi tenured na sila. Tapos, ang work pa nila, more on operational. So, therefore, their cybersecurity exposure is not that much. Okay? So, that's why sila yung most vulnerable. Pero, if you ask me now, sir, what is the current level of cybersecurity culture of this organization? And my answer is 2.5. Sir, bakit 2.5? 3.5 nga yung intern namin eh. Go. The current level of cybersecurity awareness culture of this organization is 2.5. Why? The strength of the organization is equivalent to the weakest link in the organization. Kasi paano kung yung mga middle management na yan ang nakatanggap ng phishing email? They will just click the link. They will just provide the information because they are not cybersecurity aware. So that's why the strength of the organization is equivalent to the weakest link of the organization. So, start with measurement para alam mo sinong grupo, sinong departamento, sinong region, sinong office ang pinaka-most vulnerable inside your organization. But without measurement, patrain ka ng patrain without targeting anything. Nakukuha po ako? Are you getting my point here? So, if you create an intervention na ang objective mo is focusing on middle management, na itaas mo to 3.5. So, what is now the strength of the organization? 3.15. Yung supervisory. Siya na kasi yung weakest link mo on the organization. So, create an intervention to improve the cybersecurity awareness of the supervisors. Nakukuha nyo? So cybersecurity awareness is something that we need to take seriously. Hindi po pwedeng na-train lang. Hindi pwedeng nag-invite ka lang ng magtotalk at magse-seminar and that's it. Okay? Hindi po makakabuo ng kultura yung ganong klaseng style. So, you need to create, first, you need to put measurement. Okay. So, Experts Academy is actually focusing on this approach. So one of our major solution is actually we help the organization to create a culture of cybersecurity aware organization. So we start with, okay, so as mentioned po, 91% of successful attack are due to human error. And ang objective natin is to create a culture of cybersecurity our organization. And when we talk about cybersecurity, it's everyone's job. It's a shared responsibility, and everyone in the organization has an essential role to play, including corporate leaders, including executives. There's no exemption when it comes to cybersecurity. Everyone has an essential role to play. And what I want you to understand here is that training will never be enough to create a culture of cybersecurity our organization. So that's why Experts Academy created a comprehensive cybersecurity program, okay, to help, okay, organization to build a culture of cybersecurity our organization. So first, we conduct baseline assessment. Yun yung pinakita ko sa inyo kanina. So we are giving it for free. For those who are attending this seminar, you can actually contact us. We're giving it for free, provided na kalista po kayo ha. Kasi this is we usually do this on may bayad. Pero for those who are attending the seminar, where that's your advantage, you can actually get this for free. So we conduct baseline assessment. And then after doing the baseline assessment, at least you have an idea what's the current culture of the organization. So we provide other solutions po. So this is our approach. We provide phishing simulations. So ito po, nagko-conduct kami ng regular phishing attacks. Okay, ito po yung example na makukuha nyo on your report. Okay, dun pag nagpa-baseline assessment kayo. And then, may interpretation, implication, and recommendations, no? We provide phishing simulations. Sorry, teka lang. Okay. So, first step namin is phishing simulation. So, aside dun sa unang measurement natin, no, culture, meron din kami kinokonduct na phishing simulation. So, nagpapadala tayo ng non-harmful phishing attack. Nagpapadala tayo ng email. We just want to know, in case na actual phishing attack to, sino magiging biktima? So, for this particular organization, out of the 149 emails sent, 68 of the emails were open and 66 actually click the link. So, ibig sabihin, kung actual attack to, pwedeng na-installan na ng viruses yung mga computers na to. Yung 66 out of the 68. Then, makikita mo dyan which particular offices nagkaroon ng mga biktima. Tama? And actually, kung ako yung hacker, ang saya-saya ko nito. Because 8 minutes pa lang, may biktima na ako. 8 minutes pa lang, nakuha ko na yung personal information, nakuha ko na yung username, password nitong user na to. 8 minutes pa lang. 8 minutes lang. It does not, hindi man lang pinahirapan si hacker. Di ba? So, you need to know this. Kasi kasama to sa pwedeng maging intervention. In the event na magkaroon ng phishing, sino sa mga departamento, sino yung mga empleyado na vulnerable na pwedeng mag-click ng link. And this is actually the right measurement. Kasi kung actual attack na to, tingnan mo, sino yung mga possible na mag-click ng link. So that's why we conduct baseline phishing simulation. And it has to be done 1 year round. Hindi ko pwedeng isang beses lang. It has to be done regularly. So, Experts Academy has a system already that can actually conduct continuous phishing tests. Tapos makikita natin yung trend, whether pagkonti ng pakonti yung mga nagiging biktima ng mga phishing attacks. Then, we provide training. Our training is pwedeng online or pwedeng platform-based. Then, we also provide instructor-based training. Kasi kung may intervention na kailangan gawin, so we conduct instructor-based training. We create gamified reinforcement. So, kasama ho sa engagement, nagpapa-interdepartmental quiz kami, nag-award tayo ng Cyber Hero of the Month. Kailangan every month nakikita ng mga empleyado that there is an activity related to cybersecurity. Okay? Then, merong training assessment din. Tapos makikita natin sino yung mga tao na uma-attend ng training, sino yung nag-participate sa mga program. And then, ito yung importante, threat reporting. We want our citizens or i-convert natin, okay, by the way, we also share something like this kasi syempre general employees siya, no? Sometimes they cannot understand technical terms. So we also distribute mga ano tawag dito, flashcards to help them understand yung mga cybersecurity. For example, bakit ako pag nagbukas ako halimbawa ng Shopee about refrigerator, lahat ng mga makikita kong advertisement related na to refrigerator. Napunta niyo po yun? Tapos kung halimbawa nag-open ka ng ganitong site, makikita mo kadalasan ng mga lumalabas na sa mga search mo related to that site na. Si Netflix, di ba? Parang halimbawa, pag nagbukas ka ng Korean novela, ang magiging suggestion na niya na sa'yo, puro mga Korean na mga movies, di ba? Because of the cookies. So cookies, okay, are like footprints in the sand. They help websites recognize you, but they also leave a trail that others can follow. Just like footprints in the sand, show where you have walked. Cookies help websites remember you, but they also allow tracker to see your online activity. Kaya ho nalalaman ng mga marketing mga marketing site kung ano yung mga interesado nyo bilhin. Kasi meron ho kayong cookies. So best practices niyan, dinidelete nyo lagi yung mga cookies dapat on a regular basis. Okay? So we help them understand yung mga even technical terms, di ba? Yung iba, pag mayroong mga pop-ups, di ba? Minsan, pag may pop-up, pipil outan pa rin nila ng information. Hindi nila naiintindihan na yung mga pop-up are actually a cyber threat. So, preventing pop-ups and malicious ads. So, for them to easily understand that, so avoiding fake ads is like ignoring street scammers offering too good to be true deals. It's always a trick, just like street scammers lure people in with unbelievable deals. Fake ads online use flashy promises to trick users into scams or malware. Example po ng mga pop-ups. 1,400 viruses detected on your computer. Ikaw naman, si Panic, clinic mo, scan, di ba? So, tapos magugulat ka, parang pinabibili ka na after that, di ba? So, we need to understand yung mga behavior on the internet. Not just mga phishing, but rather overall understanding of the different cybersecurity threats and the right behavior on the internet. We need to educate our cybersecurity is not a simple ano train na madadaan lang po in one simple training. It has to be a continuous education. And ang maganda pa dito, once you train your employee, it can be cascaded to their families. So tataas din yung cyber awareness ng mga pamilya ng mga empleyado ninyo. So that's why Experts Academy are doing a lot of training similar to this because that is part of our advocacy. We don't want na ayaw, parang ang nakakaawa na maraming nabibiktima po online. And the main reason bakit sila nabibiktima, main reason bakit na yung Facebook account nila because of the about time that everyone here in the Philippines must be educated on cybersecurity. Tama po? And we should start with us, okay? Those na merong capability to spread the cybersecurity awareness. So we also provide mga gamified mga activities kasi ang gusto natin culture, di ba? So it's not just training. So different approach on how we can actually provide cybersecurity we created. Okay. And lastly, may mga IT ba dito? So kung may mga IT, 'di ba, ang gusto natin, ma-convert natin yung mga empleyado natin to be out there the first reporter ng incident kasi sila yung nakakatanggap ng email eh. So kung gusto natin na ma-convert yung mga empleyado natin to be the first responder, mas maganda, 'di ba? So ang gagawin nyo lang, you click the email, you click the link, you add add-ins on your email. Pag nakikita sila ng phishing email, they will just click that link and the report will be automatically forwarded to the IT department for proper action. Since meron kang baseline assessment which is measurable, you have phishing simulation which is also measurable, training engagement. Okay, training assessment, gamified reinforcement, which are also measurable, threat reporting, which is also measurable. So what is the advantage here now? You can now create risk and learning analysis for your organization. And based on the analysis na mabubuon natin out of the measurement na kinonduct sa lahat ng to, you now can now create targeted intervention and you can now actually focus on areas na vulnerable inside your organization. And that is actually the right approach of creating a culture of cybersecurity organization. Hindi po yung mag-i-invite lang kayo ng mga cybersecurity expert and let them talk in your organization. Wala pong masyadong maitutulong yun. Okay? So, yeah. So, as mentioned, okay, we are offering cybersecurity awareness baseline tests for free. So you can email us at info@expertsprimeacademy.com and we will just share your contact information so we can contact you and we can conduct it for pre-pod. No worries, katulad po ng training natin na to, wala akong hidden charges tong training natin na to. After you attend the training, by the way, we will give you e-certificate for those who attended the training. And meron lang po kaming isang request, meron lang tayong post-survey kasi para ho sa continuous study ho namin on how we can further improve our training deliveries. So, kindly fill out po yung post-survey and we will issue po e-certificate. So, make sure po that you provided the right name dun sa post-survey po para naka-automate po kasi kami. So, we issue an e-certificate based dun sa itatype nyo pong mga pangalan. Similarly, for cybersecurity awareness baseline test, we we also provide we give it for free for those who are attending this seminar, who attended this seminar. So please make sure po that you provide your the right name po so that we can address you properly. There are still some other part of our comprehensive cybersecurity strategy, but we will be covering po the rest of this, okay? Meron po kaming upcoming seminar po for the assess part. This is actually a program that we teach organization on the right approach on proper deployment of cybersecurity. Meron po kasi kadalasan, bumibili na ng mga advanced threat solutions, cybersecurity solutions, pero the basic ones, hindi pa po nila na-address. So meron pong tamang approach when it comes to cybersecurity technology deployment. You just need to follow it so that you can actually maximize and optimize the cybersecurity posture of the organization. One good example, minsan po meron ng mga advanced penetration testing services, advanced threat detection, yung mga ganun po. Pero meron pa rin palang kumo-connect ng mga unauthorized device on the network without them knowing. So, ibig sabihin, wala pa silang network access control. And network access control is part of basic cyber hygiene. So, kahit na maglagay ka pa ng mga advanced solution dyan, yung strength noong technical solution mo is still the same because the level 1 na dapat magbigay sa iyo ng best level of protection, hindi mo pa na-address. So, meron ho kaming seminar related to this that actually help the organization to be more systematic on their approach when it comes to cybersecurity deployment. Then we also have a seminar for this one, Navigating Cybersecurity. So dito naman, tinuturo namin yung Cybersecurity Capability Build Program ng Cybersecurity Capability Build Program po ng IT Department. So ano ba yung tamang training approach? Tama? So ano po yung dapat unahing kukuhaning training when it comes to cybersecurity? So we provide a roadmap from foundation training to role-based training up to the expert level po. Okay? So I hope we can see you pa rin doon sa mga seminars na yon, and I hope that you learn a lot on this seminar, especially in terms of data protection, how to identify, how to provide right data privacy notices, tama po? Ano yung mga legal na mga pag-process ng mga data, okay? And also, how important creating a culture of cybersecurity aware in the organization to create a culture of data protection so that we can actually create a culture, a shift from checkbox, which is compliance, into a culture. Okay? Na hindi na natin titingnan ngayon ang data protection as a compliance thing. Okay? Na dadayain natin, maglalagay lang tayo ng processes and policies, pero hindi naman natin ini-implement. So pag sinabi nating culture, meaning everyone in the organization are educated enough, okay, on the right processing of data. So we will be sharing po ah yung post-survey namin. So the purpose of the post-survey po is actually how we can further improve yung mga training deliveries namin, and we want to know based dun sa mga na-present namin, ano yung mga program na tingin nyo will be helpful sa inyo. So Experts Academy po, we are a training provider po. We are the official training partner of CompTIA, ICDL, Cisco, many others. So if you are interested with any of these training programs, you are free to reach us. You can email at info@expertsprimeacademy.com, or you can actually message us on our Facebook page. So maraming salamat po, and I hope you learn a lot from our seminar, and we are looking forward po to see you on our other seminars and events po. Maraming pong salamat. Na if you find this webinar informative, we will have a lot of training similar to this. Hindi ho tayo titigil until lahat ho ng mga until ma-spread ho natin cybersecurity awareness to all Filipinos. This is actually one way that we can protect our family, our country from all these threats po, especially the technology is fast evolving. So the only way that we can survive with the fast evolving technology is to become cybersecurity aware. So for parents po pala, no, meron kami mga seminars din for parents so that you can also understand share renting, you can understand also how you can protect your kids online. So just visit yung Facebook page po namin. We offer regular seminar and you can register on all our free seminars po. So wala na pong question. Thank you po. Thank you po. Thank you everyone. Kung wala na akong question, maraming salamat po, and looking forward to see you on our future seminars and events. Thank you everyone. Salamat.